Hello, and welcome to another amazing episode of Breaking Through in Cybersecurity Marketing. I'm one of your hosts, Gianna Whitver, here with my absolutely incredible, amazing, wonderful co-host,
Maria Velasquez.
And today we have an equally amazing, incredible guest. We have Gautam Mehandru. He is the CMO at Illumio. And we are so excited to have you on, Gautam. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm super excited to be here.
Oh my gosh, we cannot dive in. We are always so excited when we have a CMO on the line here because you guys have the most interesting perspectives, being the top of the leadership in the marketing department, having to deal with the board and the CEO and the other things, and also being in a position where you mentor and grow new leadership underneath you and in your team. So we're so excited to hear about all the wisdom you have to share with us. Let's start off with how you got to be where you are today. Tell us the Gautam story.
Okay, well, the story is a long story, but I'm going to give you the abbreviated version. So, my background is actually in engineering. So I started off becoming an engineer, born and raised in India, by the way, and moved to North America, when I was 16. So I've been here for a long time. But started off as an engineer and quickly moved into product management. And then, over the last 2 decades, I've sort of played a few different roles in product and sales, and of course, the last decade in marketing. I've had an opportunity to work for a lot of pre-IPO, smaller companies, venture-backed companies, and then also had some gigs with larger, publicly listed, large-scale companies as well. I'm currently the CMO at Illumio. I've been here coming up to 3 years, actually, and prior to that, I was part of Tanium, which is another cybersecurity company.
Yeah.
And it's been an amazing journey for the last 20 plus years, 23 years to be exact. And that's how the journey began, and that's where it is right now. It's definitely not ending because there's a lot more I want to do. So,
Across that journey, you must have found some favorites in terms of ideal company size, ideal team size, fundraising rounds. Where do you feel like you're the happiest?
That's a great question. And if I knew the exact answer to that, then I would tell you. But I'll tell you, I've enjoyed different phases because I myself was in different phases of my life then, right? Because I've been doing this for a while. During the course of the last 23 years, I've gotten married, had kids. So there was different phases at work and at my home life that kind of matched at the time. So, but honestly, just the pace of early stage, and when I say early stage, it's sort of not the ABCs, but the later rounds. So, but I still call them sort of venture-backed startups. The pace, the ability to make impact in some of those companies is just a different feeling. And then when you're at a publicly traded company, I think the stakes are a little bit higher in some cases, and it's all about the scale, and you're able to do a lot more things. So, I think it's been a privilege for me to be able to exercise some of those muscles differently in larger companies versus smaller companies. When you have resource constraints versus when some of those resources are not the constraint, but it's all about connecting the dots and scaling. So, I've enjoyed a lot of those phases equally. I know that's not the answer you're looking for, but that's the reality of it, is that I have enjoyed those journeys equally.
No, that's perfect, because I feel like that's actually great advice for marketers just starting out in their career is, hey, make sure you grow all those muscles so that way you do diversify your skill set for the different parts of your life and where you want to go. So you're not just a startup or, I don't know, Series A type expert marketer. You can also do the big ones and everything in between.
Yeah, it's if these opportunities come by, I would recommend folks take it, because you do absolutely exercise different muscles, right? And from an established brand like SAP, I spent some time at SAP Concur,
right,
from where I am right now with Illumio, where it's late stage venture back pre-IPO, trying to create a category, so a completely different ballgame, right?
Yeah.
So you have to adapt, and then you have to still make an outsized impact with the roles.
That's awesome. And And the CMO role, like I was saying before, is a super unique role. And you've had this experience of being in marketing leadership for a while. You have lots of years of experience. Can you tell us how the role itself has changed over the course of your experience, the role of the CMO, and also how can CMOs today be successful, especially given the economic climate?
It's such a good question, Gianna. I think about this a lot because I'm part of a few CMO communities. We all exchange notes and we all talk about what it is to be a CMO at this stage. And everybody's got a different situation in terms of big company, small company. And I'm biased, but I'll still sort of say it that I do think the CMOs of today have the most overarching view of the business outside of the CEO, who truly obviously sees end to end, but the most complete view of the business from the buyer's journey to the customer journey. And so it's so important for the CMOs to line up to the business imperatives of the company because the marketing sort of objectives and strategies are very clearly defined if you have that overarching view of the business. And then you can speak CFO, you can speak sort of CRO, these alignments with sales and customer success, the products, the product teams, the CFO. That becomes easier when you have that overarching view of the business. And I'm really, really happy to see that a lot of CMOs, up and coming CMOs, existing CMOs, they have that strategic mindset. They have a seat at the table, of course, and then they have that broader view of the role as opposed to, perhaps maybe in years past, or it was a little bit more myopic, I think, and now it's a bit broader. And so that's how I view the role and how I approach my role. And that's what I'm doing right now as well at Illumio.
I think that's the evolution of the CMO from the chief marketing officer to the chief market officer. I've heard from others in the past, and I'll also say this, and I think Maria and everyone on this call will agree that the CMO is a perfect pre-position for CEO. So,
amen to that, because I would like to sort of have more and more people think that way, because it absolutely is possible. It absolutely is a role that can grow into successors to CEOs and stuff. And it's it's part of my job and part of this community's job to be able to sort of get the folks to think that way as well. So, but yeah, I truly believe it.
Can you imagine a world where a lot of cybersecurity companies have a CEO that came from a CMO position? It would be such a wonderful place.
Especially in cyber, because it's a crowded space. There's a lot of companies out there, and the number one job, I think, for a cybersecurity company, especially those at the early stage right now, trying to kind of break through the noise, is to position yourself differently. And that's so important, right? Because it's just not important to have a great product, but it's how do you position yourself? What's your why? How do you sort of talk about that story? And so, yeah, I mean, I think, who best to kind of talk about all of that than a trained marketer, a trained storyteller.
That's it. Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen, Gautam. You thought you were on a podcast episode today, but this is really a job interview for you to take over as CEO.
Hey, bring it on. This is great. I'd love to have that. This can go. This tells me this conversation can go in any which direction. So
it's pretty wild here. It gets wild.
I'll take it as it comes.
Maria, when you said imagine what it would be like if cybersecurity companies, if they were all like the CEOs are all CMOs, I had in my head you imagining. You guys ever play Candyland?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I just imagined Candyland.
Seriously.
And then there's like CrowdStrike, NetSpy, Varonis, Illumio. All right. Well, on that topic of standing out, being different, let's get into the main topic of our episode today, which is category creation, which is so fun and hard also. Fun and hard, which is, I think all of us here in this industry are endeavors we like to do. So Gautam, Illumio is working on building a category. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, we absolutely are. So let me tell you what Illumio does. Maybe that's a good place to start, and then tell you why we are doing what we're doing. So, our mission is to help other organizations, all organizations, realize a future without high-profile breaches. What that means, our point of view, is that breaches are happening. They're happening more often. They're getting more and more catastrophic. So for us, we want to help customers. We want to make sure the breaches don't spread into disasters by helping them segment their network with the portfolio of solutions we have. And the category that we're talking about here is called zero trust segmentation, right? So that's what our founders, decided to do about 10, 11 years ago now at Illumio. We've been on this journey for a while. And why we decided to do this, because again, category creation is more than just a product, right? It's a business strategy. You have to sort of start by understanding the context of what is your point of view? What is your why? Why does the company exist, right? You have to start there and understand if you're doing something that is a existing thing that's you're approaching in a new novel way, or you're actually doing something completely new. So it's an opportunity for companies that create categories to kind of create the guardrails, right? You're changing the narrative and forcing other people to play within your narrative because you own that. It's not existing turf, it's unclaimed turf. So you go there, you create the rules, you define what the problem is, then you define the solution for it, and then you got to be ruthlessly prioritizing and be consistent with your vision, your mission, your positioning, your messaging. And then that's sort of how you get the ball rolling on category creation. So zero trust segmentation is what we do. We've been sort of working on it for, like I said, over a decade, but we're now getting a lot of traction because it takes time. It's not something that happens overnight. So there's pros and cons of doing it, but that's the category that we're in. Happy to talk more about what we're doing and how we're approaching it. But it's important to know the why it's important. It's super important because it helps you sharpen that focus. And it's not just the marketer's job, right? You can't outsource this to marketing. You have to have everybody else in the company, be a part of this positioning and this category creation.
100%. Can I just double click on the fact that you said you've been working on this to get to this point for a decade now? It does not happen overnight. You're right. I think this happens a lot maybe in earlier stage startups where they're excited about the product and they're excited to go to market and they say, let's just go with a new category. And then, a year or two later, it's downward and they wonder why with a lot of question marks. But yeah, 10 years, that's...
Yeah, I think in 10 years, as in the company's been around for 10 years, that's
right.
just the story of the
working
company.
Towards this, yeah.
Working towards, you first start finding product market fit and so on and so forth. The first little while you're focusing on that. But the category also evolves in terms of, naming the category what it is, what your point of view is, how do you sort of consistently talk about that point of view? So when I look at our journey and I talk to even customers, right, the same thing is true. We talk about why category X in terms of, for us, it's why zero trust segmentation, right? You got to help them get past that first or realize that. Then it's why Illumio, right? Why are we the best at solving that problem for you, Mr. Customer or Mrs. Customer? And then why now, right? Why now is the right time for you to invest in us, right? So that story never sort of changes, right? We're going through our phases. And, when you first create something new, there's a rule in B2B tech, which is like the 80-20 rule, right? So 20% of customers out there will always be willing to be those early adopters, right? So they'll be willing to go away from those big brands to give this company with this product, with this solution a chance. They adopt it, they see success, they have the outcomes that they want to be able to drive. And then, you kind of ride that wave, and then what I call crossing the chasm, that's when that happens, and then mainstream adoption comes, right? So that 80-20 rule is absolutely relevant, and it applies to us as well. That it takes time. You get to the first sort of set of customers, they see the value in it, they see the story, they understand the story, they see the impact, and then you are able to sort of get mass market adoption. So we're at the precipice of sort of crossing the chasm in our journey as well.
100%.
But it's super important.
Yeah, and when you say new category, I immediately think analysts, right? And where the analyst firms could help with, this new adoption of a new category. Talk to us about what you've done with some of the firms. If you don't want to name any, that's fine, but maybe the strategy.
No, absolutely. I mean, look, everybody knows the big analyst firms that you have to engage with in creating categories. But I think so. We've been our strategy has been no different. But I'll tell you that a couple of things that are important and come to mind as you talk about this. So first things first, right? I talked about creating a point of view and understanding your why. Once you have that why, that's sort of your positioning. Your positioning leads to your messaging. So you have all of that stuff. And by the way, data always helps, because without data, it's just an unsubstantiated opinion, right? We think this is great, but you got to have data. That market data helps, which is where some of the analysts come in as well to kind of understand and give you the data. It might not be the way that you want to see the data, but the data always helps. And then your point of view, is probably not the only company's point of view either. So there's competition out there, which is good. A market of one is a market of none. So you need some competition to validate the space that you're in. The analysts, whether it's the big names like Gartner, Forrester, you start working with them. Like I said, it's a journey. It takes time. But the one thing that folks should understand, that the analysts are out there, they also have customers, and nobody ignores their customers. And if you put the customer at the center of everything you do, I talked about the 80-20 rule. You get to those 20% of the customers that have adopted your solution. They understand your point of view. They have those problems that you're looking to solve. Then they have stories to tell now. They're the heroes. And you give them that platform to be able to tell those stories and then create the buzz around that. Those stories get to folks in the analyst firms as well. And then, success breeds success. So when you put the customer at the center of it all, it truly helps, because they're able to drive those outcomes. Analyst firms, they absolutely can't ignore their customers. They talk about, and that builds sort of a groundswell, and it kind of creates momentum around what this thing is, because you keep getting asked about that as an analyst firm. They're sort of, and then they go deeper into that, and that creates a wave of, hey, there's something here. We got to sort of write about it. We got to think about it. We got to do X, Y, and Z. So we've approached it that way as well, and a lot of companies do, right? My prior company as well. There was a lot of sort of category creation conversations and talks, but that's how you sort of approach it.
You said, now I'm going to double click. Maybe we'll all get a chance to double click today. I'm going to double click on what you said about data and getting and gathering data to support the point that, hey, we have an opportunity here to create a new category and it has a chance of being successful. You said that you might not get the data in the way you want it. And I feel like there's a story behind that. And I want to ask more. What do you mean you don't get the data the way that you're looking to get it?
So, with all due respect to analyst firms, and they're great.
We respect them.
Need them. They're always sort of a lagging indicator, right? Of hey, it's big enough that let's do X. Let's put a quadrant out there. Let's do a wave. And so when you're approaching something differently, like I said, when you have a point of view that's, hey, this is what we do. This is what we need. How big is the market, right? What's your total addressable market? What's your serviceable market, right? To do those kinds of analysis, a lot of times, a lot of companies earlier in their stage, they do these TAM/SAM analysis to see, is the problem that we're thinking about big enough to solve, right? Is it a pain, and is it big enough to solve? Is there sort of runway for us to go solve it? There'll be more competitors in there if it's a big problem, which is a good thing, right? Because again, you don't want to be the only one trying to solve a problem, because this really isn't a problem then. So the data piece is important, and sometimes you might not get the reports from the analyst firms that are showcasing the data in the same way, because it's based on existing categories, right? So, and it's easy to understand that that's how you do this. This is what the data looks like. This is how big the market is. But we might be taking a different approach. You might need a slice of that data, put together differently. You're approaching it from a different angle. So my uber point there was just that the data as it exists in some of these reports may not be, just usable without some massaging and providing that perspective that you as a company with your point of view is taking. Because if it was there, everybody was doing it, there would already be a category. So that's what I meant.
Exactly.
Yeah, context is key, I would say. Yeah, adding context is always going to be on the vendor side, and their responsibility.
And then when you get big enough, and then you absolutely create a category, of course there's going to be stuff and data all around it saying this is how big it is, this is how fast it's growing, right? The CAGRs will come out and so on and so forth. That happens when something is established. But early stages, you have to sort of figure out a lot of things, and then take the data and from a few different sources, put it together, put your context on it, and then, hey, yes, it's big enough, and we're not constrained by TAM. The problem is there. It's there for enterprises. It's there for mid-market, for commercial businesses, and let's go tackle it and let's go solve it.
So Gautam, you also have a product background, so I don't feel shy in asking you this. Like you said, this episode, it kind of goes everywhere.
Yeah.
So while you're creating a category, and this is just a personal, I want to know how you think about this.
Sure.
Creating a category takes a while. It takes a long time. It's not instant. Mm-hmm. It's not like, oh, it's a new category and tomorrow it's in the Gartner Magic Quadrant. Yeah. And over the course of building a company in these more early stages, right? You said over the course of 10 years, you find product market fit at the beginning, but mm-hmm. while you're building and growing and moving towards that category creation, what is your thought on when the product moves maybe out of product market fit because mm-hmm. the world changes around the product and the company over the course? Yep. How do you course correct? How do you stay aligned and make sure that you're constantly in product market fit, or if you get out of it, to move back in? And I'm not saying this happened to Illumio. I am saying, as a product person, you might have some interesting perspective on this. And I also think that the marketing team has to be eyes on this as well.
Absolutely. It's nobody's ever asked me that question. It's such an interesting question, to be honest with you.
Sorry.
And no,
I'm like, Gotham's here. I got to take advantage.
It's making me think if I'm not the CPO of the company, but I'll tell you that, and he's great, by the way. That's why you have to have the hand on the pulse of the market. Let me just start with that, right? Because you're the person that's looking at how big the market is. You've achieved product market fit. All that stuff is great. The market does move. Right? Sometimes the market moves, but sometimes the market expands or contracts based on other capabilities that are coming up in the market that you're in. So for us to be able to be, proactively studying the market and the trends and the changes that are happening, and being able to be nimble enough to be able to adopt those changes. That's why startups, their speed is absolutely a competitive advantage, right? Because as the market is evolving and shifting, you shift, with the market. Your product capabilities and your roadmap does evolve. But I think that fundamentally the category or the narrative, still stays, but you add around it because, a lot of things get sometimes subsumed by something bigger that's now being talked about. Oh, well, look, the cloud just happened 10 years ago. Everybody's now talking cloud security, and this and that. Or AI ML is the same way right now, right? With Gen AI sort of being at the peak of inflated expectations. Everybody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to talk about what it's actually doing right now. So there's still work to be done. My point is, you keep a step ahead of the market trends and understanding how your category may evolve. When it starts to get defined by the players that are defining it, because other people will then start to define it as well, then you keep on top of that. Your products get further diversified. You start with a single product. Then you create a portfolio of products. You might extend your product into a platform to say, look, now I can start to extend this and drive capabilities on by building on top of my platform. So these are natural evolutions that will happen with, from the product perspective. But it starts with understanding, the focus and the baseline narrative around this is the problem we're trying to solve, and then you build around it, right? So every company goes through this. You got a single product. It goes on for a while, and then you create a portfolio of products saying, okay, we should be doing something on this as well. Yes, we should do that. Not because the market has moved, but there's the deployments or the ability for us to extend that to a broader scape is something that we're constantly doing. And our journey is no different. Started with a single product. We have a portfolio of products that solve this problem because the market has evolved as well. And we said we can do that as well. That's how you grow. So that's my product person perspective on the question, but that's the best I got.
And that was awesome. That was a great answer. So, and thank you for humoring me. Again, listeners, you know this because you've listened to us every week for the last 2 years, and you know that we go down the rabbit hole, and we appreciate when our guests go down there with us.
Love it.
So, on back to the topic of category creation of Illumio and of marketing, we're going to get away from that product convo. RSA is coming up. Listeners, if you're at RSA, please come to our party. We will be holding a party for marketers. Yes, you, the marketer, at RSA Conference 2024, May 5th, Sunday. After the expo hall is closed, your booth will be done. Take off your overalls and your work clothes and your hard hat and come and join us at Novella San Francisco, a literature-themed bar. We will treat you to a networking and party experience like no other. It is the best party at RSA, trademarked. So, sorry, Gautam. What do you have planned for RSA conference for Illumio? What sort of activities are you guys doing?
Well, first of all, thank you for the invite on the Sunday evening party. I did receive that, and now I have to definitely plan to fly in earlier and be at the must attend party of the show. So thank you for the invite. I'll definitely be there on the evening of Sundays.
If you're not there, we're going to be mad now since this is on
I know.
air.
I got to come in. So I've got no excuse now. I committed to it. So look, RSA, for a lot of cybersecurity companies, right? You've got to sort of show up, right? You're in cybersecurity. RSA is the place to be. For us specifically, we've got a strong connection with RSA for years, and it's probably by far our biggest event of the year. We internally call it our Super Bowl, right? So definitely have big plans. We're about 6 weeks out or something like that for RSA. As a company that's, we're a Series F, late stage, venture backed company, part of my role is to drive awareness, right? Tell people who we are. Because look, at the end of the day, if they don't know who you are, they don't know what you sell, that doesn't matter, right? So a big part of what we do, at RSA is to, appear bigger than we actually are. We absolutely have a big presence at RSA. We use it to time some of the innovations that we're doing on the product side, right? What better way to talk about product than to show it to customers and prospects that are at RSA? So we do demos at our booth. We rebrand in terms of if there's a rebranding exercise, there's no better place to showcase that as well at RSA. Not that we're rebranding, but consistency in the category, consistency in the activations in the booth, consistencies in the demo in terms of the messaging that shows up at RSA. These are all things that have to align to your North Star, which is your POV, which is your category, and reminders, right? Somebody told me one time that, when you get sick of hearing about what this company actually does, that's when it's starting to land. Don't deviate from it, because now the people know, they associate this company with this. So this RSA is going to be another big RSA for us. We have a couple of really exciting announcements on the product side. We do a lot with partners. Look, it's if you're in cyber, and this is no surprise, there is a lot of ecosystem-led growth that's happening. That means it's not just about you, because no vendor does it all by themselves. It's 1 + 1 = 3. So we are, going to be talking about the partners and what we do together at RSA. Like I said, some product innovations, and then just continue to cast that awareness and that big shadow that, look, we are, we're here to stay, and we're innovating, and we are, driving growth and outcomes for our customers. In this macro, look, it's all about driving outcomes and value for our customers. So we'll be talking a lot more about that this time in terms of how are we driving the right outcomes for our customer base. So I'm excited about it.
Really cool.
As you can tell.
We'll have to stop by, Gianna and I, the booth, and then maybe we add some videos and pictures to the show notes on this episode so people could see what you've done at
I'll
RSA.
be
That would
there,
be
and
great.
come collect some awesome swag as well. There's some great swag to be given out and to be had. So I'll be there. So come by,
Yeah,
definitely.
we'll make our rounds. We always make our rounds, say hi to everyone, and that's an opportunity for us to also meet our members in person.
And you know what? You won't be able to miss our booth. Let me just say that. So when you get there,
Ooh, dun, dun,
you'll
dun.
you'll be able to find us pretty easily from a distance. So
Wow. Okay.
Oh,
yeah,
Exciting.
okay. I'm
I'll leave
hearing
it at that.
height. I'm hearing lights. Okay, I can't wait. We will add pictures in the show notes.
Awesome.
So check back here and probably include y'all in our RSA roundup. So, of
Awesome.
and we'll also be doing, everyone listening, plus everyone on this call, we have beautiful booth awards requested by the members of the Cybersecurity Marketing Society. Yes, we will have a beautiful booth award at the conference, at RSA conference, or after RSA conference. Stay tuned and sign up for the newsletter to learn more about what the heck are the beautiful booth awards and why is Gianna hinting at it so vaguely right now. More to come. All right. Maria, is it time for our game?
I think so. Gautam, every show,
Yes.
Gianna and
Okay.
I take a stab at guessing what you would be doing if you weren't currently working in cybersecurity marketing. Some of
Okay.
the rules is we can't pick a previous job. We can't pick something that's very clearly listed in your LinkedIn or any, hobbies and stuff like that. But we just do finger up in the air, kind of like what the vibe we're getting from talking to you today. And then at the end, you guess which one was the closest to your pick, or you can just tell us both that we did miserably, and that's it. So
So this is so okay. That's interesting. So this is about you guessing what I would be doing, which is obviously I'm doing what I'm doing right now, but your guess on what I would be doing if I wasn't doing marketing or being in
Marketing.
B2B tech,
yes,
basically, is
yes,
the game. Okay, that's hard
yeah, yeah.
to
But
be
you'd be
able
surprised.
to guess.
Sometimes we're pretty on point, and it's actually pretty creepy.
Wow.
But
Okay.
let's see how creepy we can get today.
Okay.
Gianna, do you want to go first?
I will go first. Gotham
Yes.
would be a world famous mountain climber who has scaled he's making a face, everybody. All right, who has scaled the mountains, the top 20 mountains of the world, and is like sponsored by like very cool B2C brands, right? And is okay, smiles. I'm getting smiles. And is just a super famous mountain climber who achieves great things. Okay. That's my guess. Mountain climber, world famous, like
Got it.
professional. Okay.
Got it.
All right.
Maria,
Let's see. I
Maria has no idea because she's
No,
like,
I have no
"What can I
idea. For the
say?"
first time, I am pretty stumped because I usually have like strong vibes, but because you could be so many different things, I'm afraid to like pick the wrong one. Your attention to detail and you're so articulate that I see you in like an education setting, but at the same time, I do think you would be great sort of like on the branding and promotion and customer facing side of things in maybe the food industry. So I don't know. I am very like, okay, I'm gonna go with yes, I'm gonna go with food industry. Something
No,
with
wait.
weather.
Wait, Gotham, let me just say that I picked mountain climber because you're so cool. You're
Yep.
really cool. So you're so cool and awesome. That's why I thought you'd be a mountain climber, because Maria starts going like, oh, because you're so detail oriented and thoughtful. And I just have to say, that's why I picked that. Okay.
Well,
So if
first of
you're
all,
cool, you will choose my answer, is what
Oh,
is
what are
what-
you doing?
first
Okay.
of all, thank you for the
I'm cheating. I'm actively bribing the guest
thank you.
by.
I don't know what the record is so far for you, but thank you for the compliments and for saying all these wonderful things about me. Let me just tell you my background, and if I
Yes.
had a choice, I would want nothing to do with B2B tech, and I would actually want to be a professional athlete, a professional tennis player.
Oh,
Yes, I got it. I
wow.
knew
So
it. Sorry, I didn't win, I didn't.
Your answer was the closest to the pin, so to speak. So I grew up playing tennis at a competitive level.
Oh, you're a tennis
And
player. Okay, we have a lot to talk
so
about then. A lot more.
yeah, so that's sort of what I would want to do. Of course, that was, I was a lot younger then, and but yeah, that would be something I would love to do as a career and be a professional athlete, a tennis player in this case, and be as far away from B2B tech, even though I love doing what I'm doing now. But yeah, that would be my desire if I could wind the clock back.
It's amazing.
20 years
First
or
of all,
so.
we're a big tennis family here. I also used to play in high school, and my daughter has been playing for quite some time. And we go to US Open every year. So you and I should talk. And if you are in the tri-state area and you do go to US Open, maybe we can meet there.
Absolutely. I've got Wimbledon on my bucket list this year. So I'm hoping and making plans to be out there.
Love that.
For
You
Wimbledon.
got a connection that can get you in? Because apparently it's not like just buy a ticket and get in.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying every single angle right now, so we'll see
There you
what
go.
works. But I'll let you know. What works. But I would love to get out there and see. I've been to a few obviously tournaments live, but
That's awesome.
haven't been to Wimbledon.
That's awesome. But so you made a face when I said food business. So is there like a foodie? Okay, that's what.
Oh
it is.
yeah,
Okay.
I mean, we're foodies. Love trying all sorts of different food, and in and around food is definitely a happy place for me. So yeah, I could if I could like cook really well, and I would love that. It's something that I would want to invest some more time in. But yeah, food's. We revolve our life around food a lot.
Naturally, I mean, born and raised in India, you're already around amazing food, so you kind of have no choice there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So love food. So love eating. So eating and professional athlete together kind of doesn't mix, but
No, it mixes the best. Like that's the only reason why I want to like lift heavy, is so I could eat more, eat more nachos, basically.
So I guess Gianna was the winner today, at least the closest, right?
Yes, 2024 is my year to win the game, and I will win some prize that we have yet to make up, but I want to win. Me and Maria are very competitive.
We're going to do a life-size cutout at the conference in December of the winner?
I know. I think I have to buy one and put it behind. I think I still owe, from losing last year, that I owe a life-size cutout of you, just like behind me in my Zoom calls. I think that was what it was, but we haven't moved forward with that. I think maybe I'll make a mini version, put it on my desk.
Well, I wish you both the best of luck, and hopefully it's close and it's decided towards the end of the year, not at the beginning of the year.
It is the end of the year. It is. All right. Well, thank you so much. Sorry, Gianna, did you want to add something before?
No, you're good.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much again, Gautam, for joining us on the show today and taking time off for your busy CMO day. We know how those Fridays can be. Thank you to our listeners for listening in. Make sure you subscribe. And remember, there's a new episode that drops every Wednesday. And give us as many stars as possible, and tell your colleagues in cybersecurity and B2B marketing about the show. And see you all next time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, everyone.